So, you're just starting college and looking for a car that won't drain your entire savings. Or maybe you're a parent stressing over finding something safe, reliable, and affordable for your kid. But every time you check the market in the US or Europe, it's the same sad story. Overpriced, beaten up Toyotas and Hondas with more miles on them than your kid has brain cells during finals week. And the worst part? They still cost a fortune to maintain. Well, what if I told you there's another option? A wave of brand new cars, sleek, tech-packed, electric, rolling in from China that are not only cheaper than those old beaters, but in some cases feel like mini Teslas for the price of a used bicycle. And in today's video, I'm breaking down the top 5 most affordable Chinese cars coming to the US and Europe that are perfect for students. Stick around, because number 1 on this list might just make you rethink the entire car market. So smash that subscribe button, because the Wheel Factor brings you cars that the West doesn't want you to see. Number 5, the NIO Firefly. Okay, let's start with a car that might just flip the whole student car market upside down, the NIO Firefly. This is NIO's first true budget car, but don't let the word budget fool you, because when I first saw it, my jaw dropped. Imagine rolling up to campus in something that looks like a mini Tesla, comes packed with tech that feels stolen from a luxury brand, and, well, let's just say the price will leave you questioning reality. But the real shock comes when you see what's inside. From the outside, the Firefly looks nothing like the hand-me-down clunkers most students are stuck driving. Instead, it's rocking clean, futuristic lines. Honestly, it feels like Tesla and Volkswagen had a baby. The headlights, sleek LEDs that give it this sharp, premium look like something straight out of a $50K Audi. The body itself is simple, sculpted, aerodynamic, no weird angles, no cheap design shortcuts. It's smooth and confident, the kind of car you can park next to a BMW and not feel embarrassed. Compared to the average compact cars here in the States, like a Nissan Versa or a Chevy Spark, the Firefly makes them look like rental fleet rejects. And for students, this matters. Because let's be real, when you're pulling up to class, half the game is looking like you've got your life together, even if you don't. And the Firefly nails that image. It's got that futuristic, Instagram-worthy vibe, the kind of ride that gets double takes in the parking lot. But the real glow-up happens when you open the door. Most people expect a bare-bones, plastic-heavy cabin in a cheap car. Not here. Inside, you get a digital driver's display, a floating center screen that looks like it was ripped straight from a Tesla, and surprisingly premium materials. We're talking soft-touch panels, stitched fabric, and even ambient lighting that makes night drives feel high-end. And since it's NIO, you also get their smart tech DNA built in. There's a voice assistant, seamless phone integration, and little luxury touches you wouldn't expect at this level. It feels like a $35,000 car shrunk down and sold for students. Picture this. While your roommate is fiddling with an aux cord in his rusty Civic, you're just saying, "Hey Firefly, play Drake," and boom, it happens. That's the difference we're talking about. Now, don't get it twisted. The Firefly isn't pretending to be a family SUV. It's a compact hatch designed for city streets and campus parking lots. But it still fits 4 adults without turning every trip into a human Tetris game. And the trunk? Big enough for backpacks, gym bags, groceries, even a couple of weekend bags if you're road tripping with friends. Think of it like a Mini Cooper, only more futuristic, more practical, and way less expensive. Underneath, the Firefly is pure EV. Depending on the battery option, you're looking at 180 to 250 miles of range, which is perfect for student life, commuting to class, late-night food runs, and even weekend drives back home. Fast charging? It'll take you from 10% to 80% in about half an hour, which means by the time you've grabbed a coffee, scrolled TikTok, and caught up with a friend, you're good to go again. And let's be real, not having to worry about gas prices, that's a lifesaver when you're already broke from tuition. Now, here's where things get ridiculous. Take everything I've just told you, the sleek design, the tech-packed interior, the EV powertrain with real-world range. If this was a Western brand, you'd expect at least $25K, maybe even $30K. But NIO is aiming this car at students and first-time buyers, which means the Firefly is expected to launch in Europe at just $12,000 to $15,000. Yeah, you heard that right, less than the price of a used Corolla, less than half a Tesla Model 3. Parents, imagine getting your kid a brand new EV for the same price as a 10-year-old Honda. It's basically a mic drop. And before you think it's a flimsy tin can, hold up. NIO already sells in Europe, and those markets don't play around when it comes to safety. You're looking at airbags, stability control, emergency braking, lane assist, the works. So you're not just getting cheap transportation, you're getting a legitimately modern EV that meets the standards of Europe's strict regulations. If this thing makes it to the US, parents will finally have a budget-friendly alternative to rusty gas clunkers. Would you trust a 15K Chinese EV, or is it too good to be true? And don't forget to smash that subscribe button because number 4 on this list, the BYD Seagull, is even crazier. Number 4, BYD Seagull. Now next up is a car that's already shaking up markets worldwide, the BYD Seagull. Now don't be fooled by the cute name. This isn't some flimsy little budget box. This thing is BYD's Trojan horse, designed to bring electric cars to the masses. Imagine a car that's cheaper than a MacBook Pro, packed with futuristic features, and so disruptive that Tesla probably has it on a dartboard in their HQ. But trust me, the real shocker is what you get for the money. On first glance, the Seagull doesn't scream cheap. In fact, it's got the kind of styling that makes you do a double take. Up front, you've got sharp arrow-shaped LED headlights that look like they belong on a sports car. The body is sleek and angular, almost like BYD studied every modern hatchback in Europe and said, we can make that better. From the side, it has that clean, sculpted profile, short overhangs, bold character lines, and wheels pushed to the corners. Honestly, it feels like a baby crossover, which makes it look more substantial than it actually is. And compared to the Western compact EVs, let's put it next to the Chevy Bolt. The Seagull looks fresher, meaner, and way more stylish. The Bolt feels like the dad shoes of EVs, while the Seagull looks like the pair of fresh Nikes every student wants to show off. And step inside, and wow, this is where BYD flexes. Remember, this is supposed to be a budget EV for first-time buyers, but it doesn't feel that way. Front and center is a rotating infotainment screen. Yes, rotating. Portrait for TikTok scrolling, landscape for Netflix binges while charging. Show me a 40K EV in America that does that. You won't find one. The dashboard is minimal but modern, with a mix of textures and floating elements that feel high-end. You get a digital driver's display, flat-bottom steering wheel, and solid connectivity options like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Even the seats feel designed with care, sporty contours, colorful accents, and way more comfort than you'd expect in this price range. This isn't a bare-bones economy car. It's like BYD deliberately made it cooler than anything students here could currently afford. Now, don't expect a limo. The Seagull is a small hatch, but it's cleverly packaged. 4 adults can ride comfortably without feeling cramped. And the trunk? Big enough for backpacks, gym bags, groceries, even a couple of weekend bags if you're road tripping with friends. Think of it like the modern-day replacement for the Toyota Yaris, but fully electric, smarter, and way more stylish. Underneath, the Seagull packs BYD's Blade battery, which is one of the safest and most advanced battery technologies out there. You get 2 options, one with about 190 miles of range, and another pushing close to 250 miles on a single charge. Performance-wise, it's not a rocket ship, but it doesn't need to be. 0 to 60 is around 7 to 8 seconds, which is plenty zippy for city life and student commutes. And fast charging means you can juice it from 30% to 80% in about half an hour. Perfect for quick stops between classes or before a weekend trip. Okay, here's where jaws hit the floor. If Ford or Volkswagen launched this, they'd slap a $25,000 to $30,000 price tag minimum. But BYD isn't playing by those rules. In China, the Seagull starts at the equivalent of just $11,000. And even when you factor in shipping, regulations, and taxes for Europe, we're still talking around $12,000 to $15,000. Let that sink in. A brand new EV with a Blade battery, a rotating screen, sharp design, and modern safety features, all for the price of a used Corolla with 150,000 miles. Students, that's game-changing. Parents, that's peace of mind without emptying the bank account. And yes, it's not cutting corners on safety. BYD has already been crash testing these cars for international markets. We're talking airbags, electronic stability control, ABS, traction systems, and driver assist tech like lane keep and emergency braking. So you're not just getting cheap transportation, you're getting a legitimately modern EV that meets the standards of Europe's strict regulations. If this thing makes it to the US, parents will finally have a budget-friendly alternative to rusty gas clunkers.
Number 3, Wuling Bingo EV. Now, if the Seagull already had you questioning your entire car budget, the Wuling Bingo EV is about to blow your mind. This thing is literally a campus dream car. Funky, fun, fully electric, and dirt cheap. Imagine rolling up to class in a brand new EV that costs less than your annual tuition. Sounds impossible, right? But just wait until you see what's inside. First impressions. The Bingo EV looks like someone mashed together a Mini Cooper and a Fiat 500, then gave it a playful Chinese twist. Up front, you get these rounded, almost cartoon-like headlights that give it a friendly, approachable face. The hood is short, the grille is basically non-existent because, hey, it's electric, and the bumper has this clean, modern design. It's like the car is smiling at you. And honestly, for students, that matters. Nobody wants their first car to look like a boring rental. From the side, it's compact, curvy, and designed for city life. Short wheelbase, tall roofline, and colorful paint options that make it pop. We're talking pastel blues, mint greens, even pink. In Europe, this thing would fit in on tight cobblestone streets, and in the US, it's the ultimate look-at-me car for a college campus parking lot. Compared to something like a Nissan Leaf, the Bingo doesn't even feel like it's in the same league. The Leaf looks serious and dad-like. The Bingo, it looks like it's ready to take selfies with you. Now, step inside, and this is where you start laughing because no way this is a budget car. The dashboard has this sweeping modern design with a dual screen setup that instantly gives Tesla vibes. Yep, 2 digital screens, one for the driver, one for infotainment. The steering wheel is chunky and flat-bottomed, the seats come with colorful fabric or faux leather options, and you've got actual thoughtful touches like USB ports everywhere and wireless phone charging. There's even a little shelf in front of the passenger seat, perfect for stashing snacks or, let's be real, the iced coffee every student runs on. It doesn't feel cheap, it feels fun. And that's the whole point. The Bingo EV is designed to make driving exciting for first-time buyers. Forget the boring beige Corolla hand-me-down. This feels like a car you'd actually want to Instagram. Now, don't get it twisted. This is no family hauler. It's a compact hatchback, but it's surprisingly roomy for what it is. 4 people can sit comfortably, and the rear seats fold down to give you a decent trunk for weekend trips or grocery runs. Think of it as the spiritual successor to the VW Beetle. Small, practical, and packed with personality. Perfect for students, young couples, or parents who need a second car for quick errands. The Bingo EV comes with a couple of options, but even the base version is solid. You're looking at around 200 kilometers of range, that's about 125 miles, and the upgraded version stretches closer to 333 kilometers, roughly 200 miles. For city life, commuting, and student schedules, that's more than enough. Charging is quick too. Plug into a DC fast charger, and you'll go from 30% to 80% in about 35 minutes. That's basically the time it takes to grab lunch or finish a lecture. All right, here's where it gets crazy. If a Western automaker released something like this with dual screens and EV tech, you'd be looking at $20,000 minimum. Easy. But the Wuling Bingo EV, in China, it starts at around $8,000. Yep, you heard that right, $8,000. Even if it comes to Europe or the US and doubles in price, we're still talking $15,000 to $16,000 for a brand new EV with style and tech. That's not just affordable, that's disruptive. Of course, safety is always the big question with budget cars. The Bingo EV is equipped with ABS, airbags, electronic stability control, and even parking sensors. Sure, it won't match a $50,000 Volvo in crash ratings, but it's not some sketchy tin can either. For students, that balance of affordability and basic protection is exactly what parents are looking for. Number 2, Leapmotor T03. All right, picture this. A car that looks like a baby Tesla, has tech that feels stolen straight out of Silicon Valley, and yet costs less than the latest iPhone if you spread it over a couple years. Sounds fake, right? That's the Leapmotor T03. It's sleek, it's smart, and it's making people ask a dangerous question. Why are we paying $35,000 for EVs here in the US when China is serving up this kind of value for a fraction of the cost? But hold up, the real jaw drop comes when you see what's hiding inside. Let's be real, most budget EVs look budget, but the Leapmotor T03 flips that stereotype on its head. From the front, you get these slim LED headlights that honestly wouldn't look out of place on a Tesla Model 3. The grille, non-existent because, EV. Instead, the nose is smooth and modern with subtle curves that make it look way more premium than its price tag suggests. From the side, it's this tall, compact hatchback silhouette, perfect for city driving. The handles are sleek, the wheel arches are clean, and depending on the trim, you can even get two-tone paint jobs that give it that boutique Euro car vibe. I'm telling you, if you park this next to a BMW i3, most people wouldn't know which one costs more. And when I say more, I mean 10 times more. That's how wild this is. Now here's where Leapmotor just flexes on everyone. The T03's interior is ridiculously good for a so-called budget car. Front and center, you've got a 10-inch floating touchscreen for infotainment and a digital instrument cluster for the driver. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, navigation, voice control, all baked in. The steering wheel, flat-bottomed, sporty, leather-wrapped. The seats come with faux leather and colorful stitching that make it look more boutique than bargain bin. And here's my favorite part. The cabin actually feels airy and upscale, with this minimalist dashboard design that screams Tesla inspiration. There are even playful design touches like circular air vents and metallic accents that make you forget you're sitting in a car that costs less than most used SUVs on Craigslist. It's the kind of car you'd proudly give your kid the keys to, and low-key be jealous they get to drive it while you're stuck in a gas guzzler. Now, don't expect it to swallow a Costco run, but the T03 is surprisingly practical. It's a true four-seater, not just a 2+2. Adults can actually sit in the back without folding themselves like origami. The trunk is enough for backpacks, groceries, or a couple of weekend bags. Basically, it's like a Honda Fit that went to finishing school in Europe. Compact on the outside, but cleverly roomy inside. Now, here's where the T03 really shows off. It comes with a 134 horsepower electric motor driving the front wheels. Doesn't sound like much. Well, in a car this light, it means 0 to 60 in under 8 seconds. That's faster than some gas hatchbacks twice its price. As for range, you've got options. Depending on the battery pack, the T03 can go from 250 kilometers, which is 155 miles, to around 340 kilometers, which is roughly 200 miles. For city life, commuting, and student schedules, that's more than enough. And fast charging? Plug it into a DC fast charger, and you'll go from 30% to 80% in about 35 minutes. That's basically the time it takes most college kids to finish their Starbucks order. Okay, here's where the bombshell comes. Look around at America's cheapest EVs. A Chevy Bolt? Nearly $27,000. A Nissan Leaf? Same story. Even a used Tesla still runs you close to 30 grand. But the Leapmotor T03 in China, it starts at just $9,000. Let that sink in. A Tesla-inspired EV with 250 miles of range, screens everywhere, and legit safety features for less than the price of a used Corolla from 2010. Even with import costs, we'd still be looking at $14,000 to $15,000 in Europe. That's insane. And before you assume it's a tin can, nope, the T03 packs airbags, ABS, traction control, and even advanced driver assist systems like lane departure warning and adaptive cruise control. For a budget EV, that's unheard of. It's not just cheap transportation, it's a legit safe daily driver. Parents, imagine sending your kid off to college in this instead of a beat-up Civic with questionable brakes. Kind of tempting, right? But here's the catch. Leapmotor isn't a household name yet. In fact, most Americans have never even heard of it. So the question is, would you trust an unknown Chinese brand with your hard-earned cash? Or are you willing to gamble for this kind of value? And hey, if you're enjoying this countdown, smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed, because number 1 is the car that started it all, the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV. It's the cheapest electric car in the world, and you won't believe how many people are already driving it. And here it is, the king of budget EVs, the one that flipped the entire car industry on its head, the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV. This little box is so cheap, so simple, and yet so wildly successful that it outsold Tesla in China. Yep, you heard me right. A car that looks like a toaster on wheels beat the world's biggest EV company. But trust me, the real shock comes when you see just how much this little giant delivers for the price. Let's not sugarcoat it. The Hongguang Mini EV is not trying to be a Lamborghini. It's small, it's boxy, and it's unapologetically basic. But that's exactly the genius behind it. Up front, you've got these square headlights and a stubby nose that honestly make it look kinda cute. From the side, it's basically a cube on wheels, but somehow it works, especially when you see the quirky colors it comes in, like sky blue, cream white, and bubblegum pink.
Think of it as the car equivalent of Crocs. At first you laugh, but then you realize, wait, it's actually super practical and everyone's wearing them. That's why students in China love it. It's stylish in a so ugly it's cool way. And in Europe, park this next to a Fiat Panda or a smart car and it doesn't look out of place at all. Step inside and here's where you're like, no way this costs so little. Sure, it's simple, but it's smart simple. You get a digital driver's display, a clean dashboard, and surprisingly comfy seats for a car this tiny. Wuling even added practical storage spots everywhere. Cup holders, door bins, little cubbies. And if you go for the higher trim, you can get a touchscreen infotainment system with Bluetooth and smartphone connectivity. No, it's not a Mercedes, but that's not the point. The magic here is that for the price of a used iPhone, you're getting a real, usable electric car that students can actually afford. Okay, let's be honest. This is not a family SUV. The Hongguang Mini EV is a two-door, four-seater microcar. It's perfect for zipping around campus, squeezing into tight city parking spots, and running errands. The rear seats? Usable for kids or friends on short trips, but you're not taking this thing on a cross-country road trip. Think of it as a modern-day Volkswagen Beetle. Tiny, cheap, and built to get millions of people behind the wheel. Underneath, the numbers are modest but make total sense. You get around 27 horsepower, yeah, that's it, and a top speed of about 62 miles per hour. Enough for city life, not enough for the Autobahn. As for range, you're looking at around 75 to 110 miles, depending on the battery version. Again, for daily commutes and student life, that's plenty. And charging, you can plug it into a standard outlet overnight. Simple, easy, done. All right, here's the mic drop moment. While Americans are stressing over $30,000 EVs, the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV starts at just $4,500 in China. Let me say that again, a brand new electric car, not a scooter, not a used clunker, an actual car for less than $5,000. Even if it doubled in price for Europe or the US, we'd still be talking under $10,000. That's the cost of one semester's tuition and honestly, a way better investment than most student loans. Now, here's the serious part. This isn't winning 5-star crash tests anytime soon. It has airbags, basic ABS, and some stability control, but don't expect Volvo-level safety. But that's also why it matters, because for millions of people in China, this was the first affordable step away from dangerous gas mopeds into something safer, cleaner, and more reliable. It's not perfect, but it's progress. So there you have it, the top 5 most affordable Chinese cars that could change everything for students and families. Now it's your turn. Which one would you actually buy, and which one do you think is just hype? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride, and don't forget to subscribe because next time we're looking at the Chinese SUVs that are about to challenge Jeep and Toyota head-on. You don't want to miss it.